I never thought I'd be the guy writing about this kind of betrayal, but here I am. My name's Mike, and I want to tell the story of how I found out my wife, Lisa, was cheating on me with my best friend, Jake. It all started out pretty normal, married for 5 years, 2 kids, the usual quiet suburban life. I thought we had a good thing going. Lisa always had a sharp tongue, a quick wit, and some serious attitude, but I loved her for it. She was a bitchy, no-nonsense type, and honestly I liked that about her. She kept me on my toes, and I thought that was part of her charm. Looking back, maybe I should have seen the signs earlier. She was more secretive lately. Her phone would buzz nonstop. She'd hide her messages when I walked into the room, and she'd get defensive whenever I asked about where she was or who she was talking to. I thought maybe she was just stressed or working late more often. She always had an excuse. It's just work stuff, she'd say, or I need to vent to my friends. But something felt off. I started noticing her phone disappearing more, her lying about where she'd been, and her suddenly being very careful about her appearance, especially when she thought I wasn't paying attention. Then my birthday happened. It was supposed to be a fun night, just a few friends over, good food, some drinks, nothing special. But that night turned into something I'll never forget. I was sitting in the living room half drunk when I overheard a phone call coming from the kitchen. I didn't mean to eavesdrop, but the voices caught my attention. Lisa's voice was low but clear enough, and Jake was just as unmistakable. They weren't talking about work or the kids or any kind of normal stuff. No, they were talking about how they'd been sneaking around, hiding their sex, how they'd been doing it for weeks. I could hear the lies, the bullshit, Lisa saying, "You're the only one I care about," while Jake promised her more than just sex, like they were some kind of secret lovers about to get caught in a movie. I froze there, listening like an idiot. My stomach dropped out. My head was spinning, trying to process what I just heard. I couldn't believe I've been blind to it all. All those times I thought she was just stressed or busy, she was actually lying right to my face. And Jake, my best friend, he was right there, talking about me like I wasn't even in the room. I don't think I even breathed for a second. My mind just blanked, and all I could hear was the sound of her voice, smooth but so damn cruel, promising more lies and sex to someone who wasn't me. I felt sick, betrayed, and so damn stupid for not catching on sooner. I kept waiting for her to hang up or for her to catch me lurking around, but she didn't. She kept talking, unaware that I was standing right behind her, listening to every word. The worst part was the way she lied when I finally confronted her later that night. She acted like I was crazy, like I was imagining things, saying, "Oh, Mike, you're just paranoid," or "You're overthinking again." But I knew what I'd heard. It was real. In that moment, listening to her lie with such ease, I realized everything I thought about us, about our marriage, was just a lie. 2. After hearing her deny everything, I couldn't sleep that night. My mind kept replaying what I overheard, every word, every lie she threw at me. I felt like I was in some bad dream that I couldn't wake up from. I kept asking myself how I missed all the signs, how I let myself get so blind to her deceit. Lisa always had a sharp tongue and a quick wit, but I guess I was too absorbed in trying to keep things normal, pretending her mood swings and secretive phone habits were just part of her personality. The next day, I watched her carefully. She acted normal, like nothing had changed. She was bitchy, as usual, snapping at the kids, giving me that cold look whenever I tried to talk about us or mention her behavior. I wanted to confront her then, lay everything out, but I couldn't do it without solid proof. I needed something concrete, something I could point to and say, "This is what I know." So I started digging. I checked her phone records, her texts, her social media. It wasn't long before I found what I was looking for, a string of messages between her and Jake, full of stupid emojis, flirtatious comments, and plans to meet up. And the worst, a few explicit messages talking about their sexcapades, how they'd been hiding it for so long, and how she'd never felt this alive. That sickening feeling hit me again. How many nights had she lied to me? How many times had I gone to bed thinking everything was fine, when behind my back she was sneaking around with my best friend? I felt a rage building in me, a mixture of betrayal and heartbreak I'd never experienced before. I couldn't believe she'd do this to me, to us, to our family. And Jake, my best friend, how could he do this? We'd been friends for over 10 years, sharing everything. I used to trust him with my life, and now I saw him for what he really was, a liar, a cheat, and a coward. I kept thinking about all the times I was blind, all the moments I defended her, made excuses for her bitchy attitude. And now I knew she'd been planning this behind my back, maybe even laughing about it with him while I was clueless. That night, I finally decided I couldn't keep quiet anymore. I confronted her. I told her I knew everything, and her reaction was so infuriating I almost lost it. She looked at me with those cold eyes and said, "Mike, you're overreacting. You don't know what you're talking about. You're just jealous because I look good and I still got it. Jake and I, that's nonsense. We're just friends, maybe a little flirty, but that's all. You're imagining things." She actually had the nerve to lie to my face again, and she threw in that jealous line like it was some kind of insult. I could see the way she was trying to play the victim, acting like I was just some insecure husband who couldn't handle her independence. But I wasn't stupid anymore. I knew the truth. That was the moment I realized I'd been so blind, so naive to her manipulations. I felt humiliated and furious all at once. How long had she been lying? How long had she been screwing Jake? And why? Was it just about sex, or was there something deeper? Whatever it was, I knew I couldn't keep pretending things were okay. This betrayal cut so deep. I didn't even recognize myself anymore. The days that followed were a blur of anger, sadness, and disbelief. I couldn't look at Lisa the same way anymore. Every time she snapped at me or threw that bitchy attitude, I saw the sneer of someone who had been caught in a lie. She kept up the act, pretending everything was fine, but I knew better. I knew the truth, and it was eating me alive. I felt like a fool for trusting her, for thinking we had something real when she'd been sneaking around behind my back with my best friend. One night, after a long day of trying to process everything, I decided I had to get some clarity. I couldn't keep living in this limbo, questioning every moment, every word. I needed to know what she really thought, what she really wanted. So I sat her down and said, "Lisa, I know what you've been doing. I know about the sex, the lies, the sneaking around. I've seen the messages, heard the calls. I want to hear from you. Tell me the truth. Why? Why did you do it?" Her reaction was classic. She looked at me with that smirk, like she was enjoying her little game. "Mike, you're overreacting. It's not what you think. Jake and I were just having some fun. You're so paranoid, you always think the worst. Maybe I just need someone to talk to, someone who listens. You've been so busy, so distracted. Maybe I needed you to notice I was unhappy. But it's not sex or whatever you're imagining. It's just a mistake. We're just friends, that's all." Her words grated against my nerves. I wanted to shake her, to scream at her that I wasn't a fool, that I saw through her lies, but I held back. I knew her game. She was trying to manipulate me, trying to make me doubt myself. The thing was, I wasn't sure anymore if I even believed her. That just friends line was so cliché, so transparent. I looked her in the eyes and saw the coldness there, the sneer, the arrogance, like she thought she could just lie her way out of it. I felt a mixture of rage and deep sadness. How did we get here? How did I let her push me aside for Jake? For her to have the audacity to lie to my face again, to pretend everything was fine when I knew she was screwing someone else. And Jake, my so-called best friend, was probably lying to himself too, thinking he was getting away with it. That was the worst part, knowing I'd been played, used as a fool. I wanted to haul her out of the house, scream at her, tell her I was done. But part of me was numb, resigned to what I already knew deep down. I'd lost trust in her completely, and I didn't know if I could ever get it back. The next few days were the hardest I've ever endured. I was stuck somewhere between anger and heartbreak, questioning everything I believed about her, about us. Every memory, every shared moment suddenly felt tainted. I kept replaying that overheard call, her lies, Jake's voice. Those words haunted me. I wondered how long she'd been planning this, how long she'd been pretending to be the wife I thought I knew. It made me sick to realize I'd been so naive, so foolish for trusting her. She kept up the act of being normal, but I wasn't buying it anymore. She would come home, act like everything was fine. But I saw through it. The cold glint in her eyes when she thought I wasn't looking. The way she avoided certain questions, or how she'd get defensive when I pressed her about her whereabouts. I started to detach myself, knowing that I couldn't keep pretending that her deception didn't run deep. I felt like I was living with a stranger, someone I didn't recognize. The woman I married, the one who used to be bitchy but honest, was gone, replaced by this cold, manipulative version who had no remorse. One night, I finally decided I had to confront Jake. I figured I needed to hear it straight from him, see if he felt any guilt or if he truly believed he was just helping Lisa. I called him up, voice trembling, and told him I knew everything. I asked him why he did it, how he could betray me like that after all we'd been through. His response was almost casual. "Mike, I was just having some fun. Lisa's a hot piece of ass and I didn't think it was a big deal. It's not like I ever intended to hurt you. Honestly, I didn't think she'd go this far." His words hit me like a punch. He wasn't sorry, didn't seem to care, just shrugged it off like it was some stupid game. That realization crushed me. My best friend, the guy I trusted with my life, was just a selfish prick who played me for months. And Lisa, she was just as bad, using him, lying to my face, pretending she cared. I felt so betrayed, so angry, and yet I also felt empty. All the trust I'd ever had was gone, shattered into pieces. I started questioning everything. How could she do this? How could she lie so effortlessly? And most of all, what was I supposed to do now? I'd always been the kind of guy who believed in loyalty, honesty, and sticking by your wife no matter what. But now, I wasn't sure I could even look at her the same way again. The days turned into a nightmare. I was stuck in this fog of betrayal, trying to figure out what my next move should be. Part of me wanted to pack her stuff and kick her out immediately, but I knew I needed to think this through. I couldn't just react on pure emotion, though honestly, that was all I felt most of the time. Every time I looked at her, I saw lies written all over her face. She was still acting bitchy, snarky, as if nothing had happened, but I could see the cracks in her facade now. She was trying to manipulate the situation to make me feel like I was overreacting or crazy, but I was. I knew the truth. One night I finally sat her down again, trying to get some clarity. I asked her straight up, "Lisa, is there anything else I need to know? Are you seeing Jake still? Is this just a one-time thing or do you think there's more?" Her response was a defensive, exaggerated denial. "Mike, you're overreacting. Nothing's going on. Jake's just a friend and I swear I haven't seen him in days. You're just paranoid like always." She looked me dead in the eyes, her voice dripping with false innocence, like she was trying to gaslight me into believing her bullshit. That moment made something snap inside me. I realized I couldn't stay in this marriage, not with her lying so effortlessly. I felt disgusted, not just at her infidelity but at myself for ever believing she was someone I could trust. I started thinking about what I wanted, whether I should fight for the marriage or just cut my losses. Honestly, I'd never felt so betrayed, so humiliated. I had trusted her with everything, and she'd thrown it all away for a quick fling with Jake. I wondered how I was supposed to look her in the eye after all this, knowing she'd lied to me every step of the way. I decided I couldn't keep pretending everything was fine. I told her I needed a break, time to think, to breathe, to figure out what I really wanted. She threw a fit, of course, calling me names, accusing me of being insecure, of ruining everything. But I didn't care. Even her bitchy attitude couldn't hide the fact that she'd been caught in her lies. I felt like I was losing my mind, but deep down, I knew I had to do what was right for me. I didn't want to spend another day living with someone who could lie so effortlessly, who could betray me with my own best friend. That's when I finally understood that sometimes love isn't enough to fix what's broken. The aftermath hit me harder than I ever thought possible. I moved out of the house, took the kids with me, and started to rebuild my life from the ground up. It wasn't easy. Every day was a struggle, filled with regret, anger, and moments when I wondered if I'd ever be able to trust anyone again. Lisa tried to reach out, to apologize or make excuses, but I couldn't even look at her without feeling a surge of bitterness. She was still acting bitchy, still lying, but it all felt pointless now. I had seen her true face, and it wasn't someone I could forgive. Over time, I began to realize that the pain of betrayal was a double-edged sword. It cut deep, but it also made me stronger in a way. I learned to recognize the warning signs, to trust my instincts more. I also learned a harsh lesson about loyalty. Sometimes, people show you who they really are when it's too late. I no longer see her as the woman I married. She's just someone I used to know, someone who threw away years of love and trust for a quick affair and lies. Looking back, I do regret leaving. I don't regret protecting myself and my kids from her toxicity, but I do regret ever trusting her at all. The experience changed me. I'm more guarded now, more cautious, but also more aware of what real loyalty looks like. If there's anything I want others to take from my story, it's this. Never ignore the signs and never let anyone make you feel guilty for walking away from a betrayal. It's not weakness. It's surviving. That's my story. It's raw and real, and I hope someone out there who's going through the same thing finds some comfort in knowing they're not alone. Trust is fragile, and sometimes people you love the most can hurt you the worst. But ultimately, you have to choose your own happiness and dignity. No one deserves to be lied to or betrayed like I was. And now, I'm finally trying to put the pieces back together, knowing I'll be okay without her.